What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm gonna guess that you have an interest in astrology and an interest in learning more about yourself and other people so that you can bring more harmony to your life and walk through this material plane, if not with ease, at least with peace. And so today's video is going to be about learning to recognize which element you are and potentially which element other people are sort of resonating with. The benefits of this obviously is that you build a better relationship with yourself, build better relationship with other people, and actually begin to heal. I know most people probably understand or know what the elements are already, but let's just go over them real quick for the purpose of the video. We have air, earth, fire, water. Because we live in a world that functions on duality, each element will behave dualistically. And I don't like really to say positive and negative because I just don't really like to use those words. It just is. What I do like to say is that it can be constructive or destructive. It can build or it can break. Anyway, with all that being said, I apologise for the small ramble. Let's get on to the video. So air is a masculine element. You can look up all the things that are to do with masculine, but when I think of the elements, I just think masculine is moving and active. Yeah, so just or fast moving and active, do you know what I mean? So air is a masculine element and it is linked to the mind, right? The mind is an active thing, do you know what I mean? It thinks a lot and it's fast moving, you know, like we have so many thoughts a day. Because the element air is linked to the mind, it makes these people, let's call them air dominant people. Air dominant people, they're big thinkers. Intelligence is one of their abilities. You know, they're just naturally able to understand complex information. And what's even better about it is they are able to understand complex information, bring it sort of down into like understandable information for the rest of the world and sort of deliver it. And so they can be great communicators and great public speakers, although they may feel like they're challenged with communication early on in life because the information that they're understanding and making sense of is so complex sometimes. And so they don't necessarily feel like they're strong communicators, but most of the rest of the world will sort of admire that and be like, wow, you just made that so easy for me to understand, you know? Communication comes over time for the air people. I also want to add here that they make great writers as well as public speakers, so get to writing, you air people. These guys can be absolute scientific geniuses. Do you know what I mean? They can be scientific geniuses. They just naturally understand things, the world, science, physics, biology, biomechanics, everything. And so they can be scientific geniuses and also make discoveries, can bring amazing inventions to humanity. And these air signs are actually great for moving people forward, for moving humanity forward, because like I said, it's a fast moving, forward moving, active sign. If they're in their best form, you know, or if they're in their highest expression or most constructive expression, they can bring humanity forward with their new ideas. They may also have an interest in politics and human rights. Now these guys are mentally stimulated, so they might enjoy in-depth conversations on topics that other people may find boring. They love to learn and I think they just love to be mentally challenged really. And so if you want to impress an air person, you know, throw them something that's going to make them think. Like, you know, make them have to like figure something out. They are full of ideas, like their ideas never stop. Now, unless they're backed up by other energy, they may not necessarily act upon their ideas. Do you know what I mean? They may not bring them down to ground. They might just have them over and over and over again. And if they don't act on them, maybe they'll see in the future that somebody else comes about with their idea and they're like, fuck, that was my idea. Like, do you know what I mean? I had that idea. But if they're not backed up with the ability to bring what's up here down to the ground and bring it to humanity with other elements, then they will just have ideas and they'll start seeing other people, you know, use their ideas. And that can frustrate them a little bit because to some degree they are aware of their genius, but they do need other forces in order for them to like act upon their genius. Do you know what I mean? And of course, final thing, they are highly analytical. They will analyze their environment, they will analyze people, they will analyze the world, they will analyze how it works. They will just always be analyzing. That is air and its constructive behaviors. So of course it has to have its destructive behaviors. Remember, this world functions on duality, and so, you know, that is part of our challenge as humanity, to harmonize that duality, to rise above it. But let's have a look at some of the destructive behaviors. Okay, so because the air dominant people are so intelligent, they can have a lot of intellectual pride. Now, this obviously can lead to problems such as closed-mindedness, or like, perhaps not closed-mindedness, but being like shutting off other people's ideas because they want to hold on to their intellectual pride. They want to be the one that knew. They want to be the one that discovered. And so they can quite easily shut down other people and actually close their mind or close their opportunities for growth because their intellectual pride is so strong. And so something that they are here to sort of learn is being more open-minded to other people's ideas, to let go of their intellectual pride so that they can actually, you know, grow even more. Shutting down an opportunity to learn actually goes against the whole point of like the air element. And so, you know, something that they are here to learn is to let go of some of that intellectual pride so that they can continue to grow, do you know what I mean, work as a team and lift humanity up. Sometimes these people are also so caught up in science that, again, they close their mind off to exploration of a range of topics. You know, they like to have proof and evidence, you know, especially if they're in the realm of science or they enjoy science. They like to have proof and evidence to be like, yes, this is correct. And so they can close their mind to things like religion, philosophy, spirituality, all things unexplainable. They can sort of close their mind off to because there's no proof. And these people are actually the people that are best to dive into those subjects. They're best to go into religion and analyze it and find the hidden meanings and find the hidden messages. They're like best to step into the unworld because they're the people who can make the most sense of it. And so if they're just like really caught up on science, they can close the doors that they're sort of here to go and open, and that can bring the most benefit to humanity. I've already said that sometimes they can have so many ideas but not act on them, and that's another thing that they're here to learn, to either pair with people that can help them bring their ideas to earth, or learn to cultivate other energies themselves so that they can act upon their ideas and actually bring their great ideas down to the material plane and deliver them to the rest of the world. If these people do not have enough mental stimulation, you know, they can get bored easily, and boredom leads to all sorts of behaviours that don't necessarily serve you. And so that's another thing for the air people to be aware of. Because these people are so highly analytical, that makes them also very critical. They can be self-critical, they can doubt themselves, they can think that they're not good enough, that what they've done isn't good enough, that their work isn't good enough, and they can literally go from like thinking like that they're great to literally suddenly like over analyzing and then being overly critical of themselves. It can stop you from going again and doing what it is that you're here to do, because you're always criticizing yourself. And they can also be critical of other people. Do you know what I mean? They can be critical of other people and their environment, and that's difficult to be around if you are one of the other energies that aren't so critical. Do you know what I mean? And so that's another thing for the air element to understand, that they can be highly critical and are here to learn to let go of the idea of perfectionism, and you know, and just to let go of some of the criticism that they place on themselves and others. Now, because these people are such big thinkers, because they're in their head so much, they can be prone to anxiety. Forward moving, remember, so this energy is active and forward moving, and so it's like stepping into the future all the time. I like to think of it like that. It's always stepping into the future. And so the mind of the air dominant person can sometimes always be like going into the future, wanting to know what's going to happen next, can get caught up in the head, overthinking. And that is one thing for them to learn: how to manage anxiety, how to manage their thoughts, how to calm their thoughts, and how to, I guess, bring themselves to the present moment, bring themselves to stillness if they are challenged with anxiety. Finally, people can think that they're a bit aloof and disconnected, because they are always in their head, so it seems like they're never present. And I mean, I guess because they are in their head, it almost is like they're not really present because they're somewhere else. If somebody, for example, is a feeler, they're like with this other person who's like up here. It can be like, why aren't you here? Why aren't you listening to me? Why aren't you present with me? And they're like, what? Feelers don't necessarily get thinkers, and the thinkers don't necessarily get the feelers. But it's just understanding each other that can allow them to get on and actually bring both of their strengths together. The aloof and detachedness can be apparent to other signs, or it can appear that way to other signs. That is the air element in a nutshell. I feel like there was something else that I really wanted to say and I've forgotten. Oh yeah, they can get frustrated with slow learners because they just get everything so quickly. Yeah, I get it. They're really good at learning. You know, they're really good at learning. They just know how to learn. And so when somebody doesn't know how to learn, they're just like, you know, they're the one in the classroom that's like, okay, like I've got this information. Do we need to keep asking the teacher questions? I'm guilty of that. But yeah, they're, you know, like that will be their person. You know, they just know how to learn, and it just means that, you know, slow learners can frustrate them because air is a fast moving, forwards thinking masculine element. And so patience when it comes to that is something here that they is something that they are also here to cultivate. So that is the air element in a nutshell. Guys, let me know if you resonated with any of those below. Subscribe to my channel for more content. I have heaps of content coming, but I do love astrology, and there will be more content on astrology coming, including songs. So guys, stay tuned. It's gonna be sick. Hit up the next video, leave me a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.